you today on
This
webinar.
meeting is being recorded.
Kindly enlighten our students with your excellent speech. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Please take the session.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Vinay and other supporting staff of Vikas Group of Institutions, Vijayawada. And very good morning to one and all, and dear students. I think it may give you knowledge gaining. I mean, it will be a knowledge gaining session on students, the basics you can learn from this session, I guess. So, shall I start, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Please share the presentation.
Is my slide visible? Is my slide visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I put it in the full screen mode. Is it in the full screen mode?
Yeah,
Please confirm. Is it in
Madam.
the full screen mode? Hello?
Ma'am.
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
Say. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Today's agenda is, topic is building area reporting culture for patient safety. As this is the theme for the fourth National Pharmacovigilance Week celebrations. I think you have conducted various activities that you are earned as part of this National Pharmacovigilance Week. So I think this is the last day for this National Pharmacovigilance Week. So I'll be enlightening on the what are the adverse drug reactions, what are the basics of pharmacovigilance and adverse drug reactions, and what can be reported, and why you have to report, where and what, with few examples, what we have reported from our Madras Medical College. I'll be enlightening today for the session. So moving on to the next slide. Is it visible? The next slide. Please confirm.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is the agenda of my topic, today's topic, that is basics of pharmacovigilance, history, and WHO PIDM, that is WHO Program for International Drug Monitoring, and what is the need of pharmacovigilance, Pharmacovigilance Program of India, and National Coordination Center, ADR monitoring centers, and WHO EMC Center, and what are the types of areas to be reported, and how you can detect the adverse drug action from a case sheet or whatever the case given to you, and what, where, who, and how to report these adverse drug reactions. And after reporting what happens, the results, a few of the results I'll show in this during this session. And MNC as ADR Monitoring Center, I will be showing about the reporting status with a few examples with which you can come to a you will be having knowledge about the adverse drug reactions to be reported to the PVPI program. So anybody, I think all might be knowing the definition of this pharmacovigilance as WHO defines. It is the science and activities relating to the detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse drug reactions. It is detection. First, you have to identify and you have to assess whether it is because of the drug or not, and understand and how you can prevent this adverse drug reactions in future. So this entire thing comes in a definition of this WHO pharmacovigilance definition. Pharmacovigilance is the science and activities relating to the detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse drug reactions or any other drug-related problems. This is the definition given by the WHO. And coming to the, what is an adverse drug reaction? So we were talking about pharmacovigilance involves the adverse drug reaction reporting. So what is an adverse drug reaction? You should know. So it is any noxious or unintended or undesirable effect of a drug. When you give a drug to a patient for treating one condition, it may produce unwanted effects also, which may be noxious or undesirable effect. So then it is said to be an adverse drug reaction. This drug may be given for the humans for prophylaxis or diagnosis or treatment or modification of a physiological function. In any of these conditions, whenever you give a drug to a patient, the patient may develop any undesirable effects. That undesirable effect is called as adverse drug reaction as per the WHO definition. Am I clear? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
So why are these ADRs a problem? Because they account for the hospital admissions. Many of the admissions are due to the adverse drug reactions. Here in our hospital itself, one patient has developed a severe cardiac arrest due to the test dose of ceftriaxone. Test dose of ceftriaxone led to cardiac arrest. Then the patient was treated and revived. That is another point. So there are admissions, hospital admissions due to these adverse effects of the drugs. And they may also cause death of the patient. But I have not received so far death of the patient due to the adverse drug reactions in my hospital. But it may cause death of the patients. And if you go to the future, past history of this pharmacovigilance, I'll be highlighting in the next upcoming slides. So there were many deaths also due to the adverse drug reactions of a drug. So they may also complicate the drug treatment. Here I can give you one example. If the patient comes with a snake bite, anti-snake venom can be given to the patient, which may cause some adverse effects, like allergy or breathlessness, something like that. So in that cases, antihistamines has to be given to the patient. Even the corticosteroids may be given to manage that allergic reactions to that patient in such cases. So it may complicate the treatment of a patient also. And it may also decrease the compliance or delay in the cure of a disease. For example, if the patient is a diabetic patient and he or she is taking metformin, metformin may cause a GI tolerance in many of the patients. What I am receiving the cases pertaining to this metformin. So this GI intolerance may decrease the compliance. The patient may not be willing to take that particular drug. He or she may wanted to change the treatment for that particular condition. So there is a chance for the decrease in the compliance or delay in the cure of a disease due to the adverse drug reaction. These are the few examples which I have given here. I'm getting a dialog box that this meeting will end in 5 minutes.
No, ma'am. No issue, ma'am. You can proceed. No issue.
Reasons why ADRs are problematic. I will be showing in the upcoming slides. There are a few more examples for what is the need of pharmacovigilance. There also you can come across few more examples about this ADRs. So who might get an ADR? Any patient with any drug, any person, any drug at any time may produce adverse drug reaction. There is no defined time or there is no drug which may not cause adverse drug reactions. We cannot assure any drug that 100% safe. There is no drug with 100% safety. That's why their monitoring system has been avoided. That is nothing but pharmacovigilance. So any person, with any drug at any time may develop adverse drug reactions. So you should be very cautious whenever you have given a drug to a patient. So who is most at risk for the ADRs? These are all the populations, especially children, females, elderly, and multiple clinical conditions. Single patient may be having 2 or 3 disease conditions like hypertension, diabetes, some other may be having cardiovascular disorders, something like that. One single person may be having multiple clinical conditions and may be taking the polypharmacy. Many medications he or she will be taking. That may also cause some interaction which may lead to the adverse drug reactions. And even allergic history. I can say one example here. During the COVID vaccination time in our hospital, one of the patients, we cannot say it is a patient, one individual who has been given Covaxin, he was not revealed his past history. and he has been given that Covaxin vaccination during that time, and immediately he developed syncope. And later on, when he developed syncope and after giving treatment, he come up that he had a history of insect bite allergy. So he has not given that history before to the administration of that vaccination. So it is very important to get the medical history of a patient before giving a drug. So these are all the few examples or who are more risk for developing the adverse drug reactions. Next, coming to the history of the pharmacovigilance, when it has been evolved, what is the importance of this pharmacovigilance? We will see in the coming slides. So in 1901, there is one diphtheria antitoxin incident where diphtheria antitoxin was extracted from a horse milk, and it was contaminated with tetanus, which was not known during that time. So after administering to the children, there were a death of 13 children during that time. 13 children were died after administering this diphtheria antitoxin, and then US federal government has evolved with the Biological Controls Act in 1902 after this diphtheria antitoxin incident. So this is mainly for the regulation of the biological products, not for the other drugs when at that time. So this is mainly meant for inspecting and suspecting if there is any contamination with the products, biological products, especially during that time with the Biological Controls Act 1902 in US. So there were 13 deaths with the diphtheria antitoxin. I told you why ADRs are problematic. In that, one reason is they may cause death. So this is one example for that one. Next, coming to the next one. So in 1937, there is another incident happened, that is elixir sulfanilamide incident. There were more than around 105 deaths were taken place because of the administration of this elixir, which was later on identified that the sulfanilamide is not the culprit here, but the solvent which is used for preparing elixir was diethylene glycol. It was the culprit to produce the deaths. And out of 105 deaths, there were 32 children were died, and the remaining were the adults during that at that time of incident. Then in the US, the federal government has evolved with the Federal Food, Drug and Cosmetics Act 1938. Earlier in 1902, only Biological Act was passed only for monitoring the biological preparations. Whereas in 1938, they have passed an act on Food, Drug and Cosmetics Act to monitor the safety of the marketed drugs, biologicals and cosmetics during that time because of this elixir sulfanilamide incident. So that time this elixir was also said to be the elixir of death because it has caused 105 because of that diethylene glycol as a solvent used in the preparation of this elixir. So this is the left side is the labeling of the elixir sulfanilamide on the bottle, and the right side the picture that so they have tests and found out that the ethylene glycol culprit or the sulfanilamide drug causing the deaths. So this is one for the evolution of the so this happened in 1960. Given to audible?
Yes.
It's also visible, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
What happened during this pandemic? It was Germany in 1957, this thalidomide was approved for marketing and prescribed for mornings in women. So it not only in West Germany, there were 46 countries were used thalidomide for morning in the by pregnant women. So what happened with this drug? Now, there were 10,000 for born abnormal, we call it as phocomelia worldwide. So phocomelia is nothing but abnormal formation of the limbs, maybe upper limbs or both upper and lower limbs. The condition is called as phocomelia. So 46 countries were affected during that. Phocomelia, 40% of the victims died within a year. Totally, there are only approximately 5,000 thalidomide survivors are available right now in the worldwide. So you can see the pictures, how this phocomelia looks like. Sealed limbs, we can call it as sealed limbs. And the medical term is called as phocomelia. Amelia was also is there, complete absence of the limbs, amelia we can call it as, but many of the victims were with phocomelia with the abnormal formation of the limbs, both upper or lower limbs. There were some other deformities were also found during this thalidomide disaster. I'll show you in the next slide. So there were a range of abnormalities were also noticed during this thalidomide disaster, like the disfigurement of the ear, ocular abnormalities, facial palsies, internal organ damage, and congenital heart diseases. These were all the abnormalities found or noticed during that thalidomide disaster. So what happened after seeing these many victims? One doctor called Dr. McBride, he wrote a letter to Lancet that these many patients have been found out with pregnant ladies who are taking this thalidomide. Their babies were born with phocomelia as congenital anomaly. So please, others who are reading this article, please be noted. And if you come across some such kind of events, please write a letter to this Lancet or some published regarding your data, what you have observed, something like that. He has put a letter to the Lancet, and it has reached to all over the world, and everyone woke up and everyone started reporting that we have received this many cases, and later on found out that this is a disaster due to the thalidomide. Then then FDA reviewer called Frances Kelsey, she has to give marketing authorization for thalidomide as it has lack of safety information about this thalidomide. So she has denied. So it was banned at that time for especially for the pregnant ladies, and she for her role for denying or refuse as she has refused to authorize this thalidomide, she has received President Awards from John F. Kennedy in 1962, the then President of US Federal Civilian Service Award she has received from John F. Kennedy in 1962, as she has concerned about the safety of thalidomide. So what is the result of this thalidomide tragedy? So in 1962, Federal Food Drug Cosmetic Act required both safety and efficacy. Earlier, it was only looking after the efficacy of the data. Efficacy data only it was capturing. But later on, about after this thalidomide, it was very concerned about the safety and efficacy data. So whenever if you want to get any drug or a molecule to be approved by FDA, there should be a safety data and efficacy data. Then only the approval will be you will be getting for the marketing of the particular product or the medicine. And in 1964 in UK, there was a yellow card system, yellow card scheme, where the patient is given a card where whether he or she produces any adverse drug reactions, he has to carry wherever he goes to any hospital or a clinic, so that everything will be mentioned in that card that this patient is allergic or maybe may produce adverse drug reactions to this particular drug, something like that. In 1968, WHO launched a program for international drug monitoring, which in short we will call it as WHO PIDM, Program for International Drug Monitoring. So this is the began a beginning of the modern pharmacovigilance after thalidomide disaster. Till that time, there was no stringent guidelines to report adverse drug reactions. But after this launch of WHO PIDM program, so this makes the sense of reporting adverse drug reactions and to take some authorization or marketing authorization on a particular drug based upon the safety and efficacy data. So this is the beginning of the modern pharmacovigilance after this thalidomide disaster. So at worldwide, if you see, WHO UMC is the global center for drug monitoring, which is called as Uppsala Monitoring Center. WHO UMC. WHO, you know the full form, and Uppsala Monitoring Center, UMC. It is situated in Uppsala, Sweden. So it has collaborated with WHO PIDM in 1978 to promote pharmacovigilance at the country level. So currently there are 180 countries involved in this international drug program, PIDM program. 180 countries are involved in reporting adverse drug reactions. In that, India is one of the countries. So WHO UMC, what it does means the WHO headquarters Geneva is responsible for the policy issues. So say for example, if any signal or any rare adverse drug reaction is identified worldwide, then it may be communicated to the WHO headquarters, which may take some regulatory decision at the global level. Whereas WHO UMC Sweden is responsible for the operation of the PV program. I mean, the technical part will be taken care of by the WHO UMC, whereas the policy issues may be issued by the WHO headquarters. So the main database which is used by UMC is called as Vijibase. So currently more than 35 million ADR reports are there in this Vijibase database. This is the global database. The name is Vijibase. So there are more than 35 million ADR reports are available currently in UMC database, Vijibase. So these are all the tools which are available in the main Vijibase database. So Vigiflow, this is the online safety data management system where we use for ICSR processing. I mean, if you want to upload one ADR case, this Vigiflow is used to process, to submit it to the initially to the national center, and finally it goes and set into this global center, global database called Vijibase. So Vigimine is the tool used to access statistical data of the ADRs worldwide, whereas Vigimed to access the safety concerns or check regulatory status at country level. Say, for example, if one drug is being banned or withheld for marketing in India, that status later on after 1 month or 2 months, what was the status, whether it is completely banned or again the formulation has been changed and used for another condition, something like that. The regulatory status you can check with this Vigimed, but we don't have the access for this Vigimed, Vigimed and Vigisearch, something like that. We have only for access for the Vigiflow. But national center, they have the access for all these Vigimine, Vigimed, Vigisearch, Vigilize, Vigigrade, and Vigiaccess. Vigiaccess, any layman person can also use. There you can see the number of adverse drug reactions pertaining to one drug. You can see. You can see the number of ADR reports. Say, for example, paracetamol, it uses Stevens-Johnson syndrome. You can check how many Stevens-Johnson syndrome reactions with paracetamol were reported to this global database. The number it will show in the this Vigiaccess website. You can just put it in the Google Vigiaccess. You can open and you can type the drug name, and you can see whatever the adverse drug reaction you want to see, and number it will display. It will be displayed. Whereas this Vigilize is used for identifying the signals. Signal means any adverse drug reaction which was not documented earlier, maybe during the clinical trial or during the post-marketing surveillance, it was not documented. It is a rare adverse drug reaction which was reported just now. This is the first report. Then it may be considered as a signal. Immediately after getting one report, there is no issue of the signal by the government. At least they will wait for at least getting 3 or more than 3 adverse drug reaction reports of that particular kind. Then only they make it as a signal, and notice will be issued to the pharma companies and healthcare providers also, that this drug may cause this rare adverse drug reaction, be cautious while prescribing. And to the pharma companies, they may issue the notice that this drug may cause this ADR. So please include this term into your patient information leaflet. That package inserts which contains the monograph or the profile of a drug, it has to be included there. Like that, notice will be issued by the regulatory authority of our Indian, that is CDSCO. So why pharmacovigilance is needed? Reason one, humanitarian concern, isn't it? So there were, during thalidomide, there were more than 10,000 children were died due to phocomelia. Affected with phocomelia, and in that 40% were died within a year. So there is a humanitarian concern is there, no? So during the clinical trials, it may not be possible to identify all the adverse drug reactions during the clinical trials, because it has a limited sample size, maybe up to 5,000, maybe up to 1,000 only we can see the effect of safety or the efficacy of the drug what you are testing for. But once it comes into the market, there are millions of people will be taking. During the clinical trials, there may be exclusion criteria you may follow for particular drugs. Like you may be excluding the elderly patients, you may be excluding the children, you may be excluding the pregnant woman, you may be excluding the lactating mother, something like that. But once it comes into the market, it may be used for all the patients depending upon their situation. So it is very essential to monitor the safety of the drugs once it comes into the market also. So that's why monitoring of ADRs is very essential. And there in clinical trials, only phase 1 to 3 may be followed, maybe 4 also. But once it comes into the market, it is our duty as healthcare professionals to monitor. And if you come across any such incidences, you have to report, as it is the moral responsibility of the healthcare professionals. Coming to the reason 2, medicines are supposed to save the lives, right? So diphtheria antitoxin was given. What happened? 13 children died. And after that, sulfonilamide elixir was given. 105 were died. So it should not produce such incidences. So dying from a disease is sometimes unavoidable. Disease ఉన్నప్పుడు ఆ డిసీజ్ నుంచి వాళ్ళని కాపాడడం కష్టం అవ్వచ్చు, బట్ మెడిసిన్ వల్ల చనిపోవడం అనేది యాక్సెప్ట్ చేయలేమన్నమాట. సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు బి వెరీ కాషియస్ ఆఫ్టర్ గివింగ్ ఎ డ్రగ్. యూ హ్యావ్ టు మానిటర్ ఫర్ ద సేఫ్టీ ఆఫ్ ద పేషెంట్స్. So ADRs are very expensive also. There were 6.5% of hospital admissions due to ADRs itself. I told you, one patient came with a cardiac arrest due to the ceftriaxone test dose itself. That is one example. I will show one more example, which increase. You can see the expenditure spent for treating the disease and expenditure spent on treating the adverse drug reaction. So I will show one example. So this is one example, one ADR report what we have received long back in 2018. So the patient is having urinary tract infection and was treated with ciprofloxacin, and there were 3 more drugs were also given. Citralca and paracetamol and B complex were given to the patient. But due to this ciprofloxacin, patient has developed erythema, scaling, exfoliation all over the body. Almost all over the body, exfoliation was there. So if you see the next slide, there the drugs given for this entire 9 drugs you can see. For treating the adverse drug reaction, 9 drugs were given. So that makes a difference that ADRs are expensive, isn't it? So for treating the urinary tract infection, only 3 or 4 drugs were given. But for treating the adverse drug reactions, 9 drugs were given to manage the ADR. So there is a difference between the treatment of the disease and the ADR. I am not telling about the differences, but you can find out the expenditure. What could be the expenditure for treating the drug and the adverse drug reaction? So it is more expensive. ADRs are more expensive. I meant to say this example. And the reason for promoting rational use of medicines. So unnecessarily in some patients, there may be use of antibiotics, and the patient himself or herself will go to OTC, to the pharmacy, and he will buy one antibiotic and simply will take for simple cold, running nose also. For that also, the patient may take simply antibiotics, which is not a rational use of the medicines in that situations. So in order to promote the rational use, this PV is also important, and in order to ensure public confidence, and it is our ethics, it is our moral responsibility. If something is causing wrong to a patient or harmful effect to a patient, after knowing, if you don't report it also, it is not ethical, right? Say for example, one drug is causing a death or severe adverse drug reaction or life-threatening adverse drug reaction, and you have come across that one, but you are not reporting as a healthcare professional. It is not ethical, and it is unethical. So you have to report wherever you come across any adverse drug reactions to safeguard the public or for the patient safety. So what is the need of pharmacovigilance in India? Till now, we have studied or discussed about in general what is the need of PV. Whereas what is the need of PV exclusively in India? So India has a population of more than 145 crore. So there are our pharmaceutical industry is the fourth largest industry all over the globe when you compare, and more than 1,000 drugs in the market are available with more 1 lakh formulations. One drug itself may be having many formulations. That's how this more than 1 lakh of formulations, and no adequate data about the efficacy and safety of the drugs in our population. So that is the main motto. In order to capture the efficacy and safety data in our Indian population, this Pharmacovigilance Program of India was started. In mind, remember that no medicinal product is completely devoid of risk. There is no drug with 100% safety. So we cannot assure also the patient may develop at any time with any drug at any point of time. So you have to monitor. That's why the monitoring system is essential to ensure the patient safety. So whenever you give a drug to a patient, monitor for the safety of the patient. Whether he produces any adverse drug reactions, it has to be treated immediately, and we can plan what is the risk minimization plan. How can we minimize these adverse drug reactions in future? We will come to know if you start reporting the adverse drug reactions. So pharmacovigilance in India, till now we have discussed about the incidences happened worldwide, but now we will see the pharmacovigilance in India and what is the role of PVPI when it was started, so on. So pharmacovigilance in India was started in 1986 with 12 regional centers with the name called ADR monitoring program. The program was named as ADR monitoring program during this time, 1986. With the 12 regional centers were started, but it was not effective, and there were some financial lacunae also. So because of that one, it has been suspended. And again in 1997, India joined with the WHO PIDM program, that is Program for International Drug Monitoring. It has joined, and it was not effective. Same thing, the financial background, and there was no effective stringent guidelines for monitoring the adverse drug reaction during that time. And again in 2005, National Pharmacovigilance Program (NPP) was started on 1st January of 2005. And it has collected the information of the adverse drug reactions, especially or pertaining to the OTC drugs, the drugs which are being sold at that time as a OTC, over the counter. Those drugs which are producing the adverse drug reactions, that type of data only were being collected in 2005 during that program, National Pharmacovigilance Program. But it was also not up to the mark, and it was being suspended in 2009. And again in 2010, Pharmacovigilance Program of India, PVPI, has started. So let us see what is this PVPI and how it is working in the further slides. So Pharmacovigilance Program of India, it was started on 14th July 2010 with Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and with a mission to reduce the risks associated with the use of the medicines in the Indian population. And that at that time, AIMS New Delhi was the National Coordination Center, NCC, for PVPI program. And it was initially started with the 22 ADR monitoring centers. So 22 ADR monitoring centers were established at that time. In that, Madras Medical College is also one of the ADR monitoring centers at that time also. Since 2010, Madras Medical College is also working as an ADR monitoring center under this PVPI program. So due to some ineffectiveness by the, just give me a second, I have to switch on. Sorry for the interruption. So as AIIMS New Delhi was the National Coordination Center in 2010, it was not up to the mark, it was not effective in running the program effectively. Then this National Coordination Center was shifted to Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, IPC, which is situated at Ghaziabad. From AIIMS New Delhi to Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, this PVPI program has been shifted in 2011 on 15th April. So this picture is the IPC at Ghaziabad. This is the National Coordination Center for PVPI program. And so, from that time onwards till date, it is the National Coordination Center, and it is running very effectively with the many outcomes from the ADR reporting all over country. So what is the role of this PVPI? So it mainly monitors the ADRs among the Indian population. So currently there are about 895 ADR monitoring centers across the country, from which all the ADR reports are being collected at the national center, and they will do the quality review of all ICSRs received from both, not only from the medical institutions, but also from the marketing authorization holders. This MAH represents marketing authorization holders, nothing but pharma companies. So pharma companies are also submitting their safety data. This is post-marketing surveillance data is also being submitted to the PVPI for regulatory action to be taken on that particular product. And it also detects the signals. As I told you, what is a signal? It is a new rare adverse drug reaction or serious adverse drug reaction which has been identified from the data, which was not documented earlier, which was not reported earlier. This is the first adverse drug reaction, which is a serious and rare first adverse drug reaction. So that is for easy understanding. I'm telling you, actually the definition is the adverse drug reaction which was not documented earlier is said to be as a signal. So it issues drug safety alerts also and PVPI newsletters and recommends the safety data to CDSCO. So you know, our regulatory authority of India is CDSCO, Central Drug Standard Control Organization is the regulatory authority. So though PVPI monitors the safety data, the data will be, or the safety information will be communicated to the CDSCO, as it is the regulatory authority to take a decision on to ban or label change or something like that. So PVPI cannot take the decision. So the information will be communicated to the CDSCO for the regulatory actions. And also it provides a skill development program in pharmacovigilance. I think it is on quarterly basis. Anybody can attend this training program. Earlier it was offline. Now they have made it as a online also. They have made it as online. So around 1,000 rupees for registration, and you can attend through online, and you will get a certificate for this training program, which is a government authorized training program in pharmacovigilance. There are many private institutions who are giving the training program on pharmacovigilance, but this is a government authorized training program you will receive from the Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission. And it also collaborates with the WHO UMC as sending the ICSRs through VigiFlow as we are submitting the adverse drug reactions. And this National Coordination Center, PVPI, as I told you, IPC, Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission is the National Coordination Center. It was designated as the WHO Collaborating Center for Pharmacovigilance on 18th July 2017. So there were slow developmental progress in PVPI from 2011 to 2017. Actually, they planned for 2015 itself, but they couldn't achieve this one in 2015. But in 2017, they have received this, achieved this target of the goal that they have become the, IPC has become the WHO Collaborating Center for the Pharmacovigilance in public health programs and regulatory services. So this is the launch of that WHO CC Collaborating Center, a launch at IPC, and this is from the WHO website that India has been given as the WHO Collaborating Center. So what it mainly deals with, this Pharmacovigilance Program of India, what it mainly deals with? It deals with spontaneous and voluntary reporting of adverse drug reactions by healthcare professionals. Not only by healthcare professionals, patients or patient caretakers can also report the adverse drug reactions. So here I have shown you some examples, only few examples I have shown here. So it may be due to a drug-induced itching, skin rash, urticaria, or angioedema, fixed drug eruption. FDE stands for fixed drug eruption, GI bleed, gastrointestinal bleed, diarrhea, abdominal pain, tinnitus, dyspnea. These are all the few examples I have shown. So whatever the adverse drug reaction, if you suspect drug is causing the adverse drug reaction, you can report under this PVPI program. So who are all the stakeholders and how the process takes place under this PVPI program? Nothing but ADR reporting in India, stakeholders and the processes. So mainly the four stakeholders you can see, not only four, five I can say. So ADR monitoring centers, one stakeholder, pharmaceutical industries, one stakeholder, CDSCO, one stakeholder, Uppsala Monitoring Center, WHO EMC is one stakeholder, whereas healthcare professional, patients, and patient caretakers are the other stakeholders involved in adverse drug reaction reporting. So if a healthcare professional, maybe a doctor or pharmacist, nurse, or even a patient can report any adverse drug reaction by using this toll-free number or the mobile app or the ADR reporting form, and to these ADR monitoring centers also. Say, for example, you have a pharmacy institution, you may be having a PharmD curriculum. So PharmDs may be having a tie-up with the hospital where they can go for their internship, something like that. If they, during their internship, if they come across any adverse drug reactions, they can report it to the ADR monitoring centers near to the hospital. Or if your own hospital is a ADR monitoring center, you can report it there itself, and it reaches to the National Coordination Center. There, the quality review will be taken place, and if it is a valid case, then they will go for the causality assessment, and they may go for the data mining for identifying the signals. Is there any new advanced drug reaction with a particular drug? They will do the data mining at the National Coordination Center. Later on, if there are any safety issues, may be communicated to the CDSCO and also to the WHO EMC Center. If the case is not a valid one, then it may be reverted back to the ADR monitoring center. Or if it is from a pharmaceutical industry, the case may be reverted back to the pharmaceutical company. So this is how the process takes place in ADR reporting in our country, and these are all the stakeholders. Nothing but personals who are involved in ADR reporting in this slide. So what are the other PV programs under PVPI? There is another program called HVPI, Pharmacovigilance Programme of India. So where in the upcoming slides, I'll show you what to report under this program, and AEFI, Adverse Events Following Immunization. And another one is Material Vigilance Program of India. So here you can observe adverse events. Till now we were talking about the adverse drug reactions, whereas it is coming to the AEFI, adverse events. Why we are calling it as adverse events? Following immunization, nothing but vaccination. After vaccination, if individual develops any adverse effects, then it is called as adverse events. Why it is so called adverse events? Why not ADRs? Because it may take nearly 100 days to make a causal establishment between the vaccine and the adverse effects following the vaccination. Whereas in other drug-related adverse effects, we can make it as an adverse drug reaction because immediately we can do the causality assessment and we can come to the conclusion, yes, this is because of the drug only. So then there we can call it as an ADR. But for vaccines, we cannot say it as an ADR. Because it takes 100 days for the causality assessment to be established between vaccine and the adverse effect produced. So that is the main difference between these two. So under Pharmacovigilance Program of India, National Institute of Biologicals, Noida is the National Center for reporting the adverse drug reactions due to the blood and blood products. So the there is two different forms are available. You can download from the website, NIB website itself, National Institute of Biologicals. One is for the transfusion reaction reporting for blood and blood products. Say, for example, after transfusion of a blood or blood products, maybe platelets or something like that, RPCs, packed RPCs, something like that. If the patient develops any adverse effects or adverse drug reactions, you have to fill up this transfusion reaction report, TRR form, we will call it as in short. That has to be filled up and submitted to the ADR monitoring center or directly to the NIB. Or another form is also available, that is adverse blood donor reaction reporting form. If a donor develops, after donating the blood, if a donor develops any adverse effects, this form has to be filled up. And the software used there for uploading the cases is Hemovigil software. So if it is a recipient develops any adverse drug reaction, Hemovigil software is used. Whereas if a donor develops any adverse effect, donor vigil software is used. Whereas for drugs, Vijayflow is the software we are using for the uploading of the cases. But for blood and blood products, this is a software. Hemovigil software, donor vigil software are the two softwares used for processing the cases. And coming to the next other PV program, adverse event following immunization. So PVPI has collaborated with the AEFI Secretariat at ITSU, that is Immunization Technical Support Unit, New Delhi. They have a collaboration between each other. So if you come across any serious adverse event due to the vaccination, this left side form, you can see serious AEFI case notification form has to be filled up. And if it is not a serious one, non-serious one, say for example, mild fever due to vaccination, this ADR reporting form, what you are using for reporting the adverse drug reactions can be used, and you have to submit it through Vijayflow. Whereas if it is a serious one, you have to upload in the Vijayflow as well. You have to send a soft copy or the scanned copy to the district immunization officer and SEPIO. Where I have mentioned the mail IDs. To those mail IDs also, you have to send the serious AEFI case notification form if it is a serious adverse event due to vaccination. So this is another PV program, Pharmacovigilance Programme of India. It was commenced on 6th July 2015, where IPC is the National Coordination Center for this one also, whereas Sri Chitra Tirungal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology, Thiruvananthapuram is the National Collaborating Center, whereas National Health System Resource Center, New Delhi, acts as a technical support. So this program is mainly meant for any medical device induced adverse effects can be reported under this program. So I'll show the form what is used under this one. So this is the medical device adverse event reporting form. Medical device adverse event, MDAE reporting form can be used. It is about 5 pages, but I have shown you the part of first page alone here. It is a editable PDF format. It is available as a editable PDF format. So if you come across any medical device induced adverse events, you can use this form and report it to the PVPI program. So what are the other collaborations of PVPI in India? So it has been collaborated with the national health programs called NTEP, National Tuberculosis Elimination Program, and also National AIDS Control Organization, and with the Kala Azar programs. So there are around 21 NTEP centers under PVPI who are reporting adverse drug reactions due to the anti-tubercular treatment. In that, 19 cohort event monitoring centers for bedaquiline and delaminate are also reporting adverse drug reactions due to these two drugs particularly, bedaquiline and delaminate. So these were approved for giving in the MDR TB and XDR TB patients, and if they produce any adverse drug reactions due to these two particular drugs, bedaquiline and delaminate, can also be reported under this program. Whereas this NACO, there are around 20 ART centers under PVPI program who are reporting the adverse drug reactions due to antiretroviral treatment. In that, Madras Medical College ART Center is also involved in reporting the adverse drug reactions under this program. And Kala Azar program, there are only 4 states reporting adverse drug reactions due to Kala Azar treatment. That is Jharkhand, Bihar, West Bengal, and Uttar Pradesh. And rest of the country, they are under process to report adverse drug reactions due to Kala Azar treatment. So this is the adverse drug reaction reporting form for Kala Azar treatment. So the drugs which are used in treatment of Kala Azar, if they produce any adverse drug reactions, this is the form used. This is about 2 pages. which is a predetermined, all drug names will be already mentioned. Something like that. Even the kalas are different. Kalas are conditions like the post-kalas are dermal leishmaniasis or HIV, visceral leishmaniasis. It's very easy to fill up if the kala-ajar treatment produces any other reaction. So it is the part of the stage. I don't have the, because of the time I couldn't paste the entire thing because I have to highlight about the other points under PVPI. So what are ADR monitoring centers? So there are adverse drug reaction monitoring centers are nothing but the ADR monitoring centers of medical institutions or the corporate hospitals who have enrolled under PVPI program. So for example, Madras Medical College is working as a ADR monitoring center under PVPI since 2010 onwards. When the NCC is under AIMS New Delhi, from that time onwards, Madras Medical College is working as a or performing as a ADR monitoring center. So under PVPI. So currently 895 medical institutions, including corporate hospitals, are acting as a ADR monitoring centers under this PVPI program, and they are sending ADR reports through Vijayawada. So Pharmacovigilance Associate at AMC under the guidance of a coordinator is responsible for case processing of the ICSRs. What is ICSR here means? Individual Case Safety Report. Nothing but an ADR report about one particular patient. If the patient develops more than 2 ADRs also, it also becomes as an ICSR. So what are all the types of ADRs to be reported? I think this may be useful for you as you are undergraduate or BPharm students. So type A, B, C, D, E, F. So there are many classifications, but I have shown you the simplified one, which may be understandable to you. So the type A is augmented, where you can see the extension of the pharmacological action. Say for example, patient is diabetic and he's taking insulin, something like that, and he has developed hypoglycemia. Actually, he's having hyperglycemia due to diabetes. So in order to normalize that one, you are giving insulin. The patient goes to hypoglycemia. So this is the extension of the pharmacological action, where you can minimize these risks. Hypoglycemia can be managed, or you can prevent further hypoglycemia occurrence by reducing the dose of the something like that. So it is a dose dependent one type of adverse drug reaction, this type A. Whereas type B is desired. Here it is not dose dependent. It depends upon the individual, or we can say it as all of a sudden, if the immune system reacts to a particular drug, the patient may develop any type of adverse drug reactions, especially some anaphylactic shock with antibiotics. Say for example, ceftriaxone induced cardiac arrest, I told you. So that also comes under this one as a desire. Type B is desire. Whereas type C is chronic. When the patient is taking a particular medication for a chronic period or years together, he may develop some adverse drug reactions. Especially in case of rheumatoid arthritis, if the patient is on steroids, he or she may develop some Cushing syndrome, something like that. So that is one best example for this chronic use. Whereas delayed, I told you, thalidomide disaster. The pregnant woman, when she was 3rd month or 4th month, she took the thalidomide, and effect was seen after the delivery only. So the thalidomide itself is a big example for delayed type of adverse drug reactions. And E is end of treatment. This is if you stop abruptly any treatment, especially like anti-epileptics. If the patient is having epilepsy and you have given some anti-epileptic drugs for 2 years or 3 years with a dosage, if the patient abruptly stops without tapering the dose, there may be a chance for getting the seizures again. So this is one example for end of treatment. And F is failure of treatment. Some individuals may produce some resistance to the antibiotics. So antibiotics may not be effective in some patients, as their body produces resistance to that particular antibiotic. So there it is failure of the treatment. If any adverse drug reaction which is not fitting into all above 5 categories, then you can make it as an unclassified type of adverse drug reaction. This is some simplified classification of the ADRs to be reported under this PVPI program. There are many classifications you can go through. Then how will you detect an ADR? So when drug is administered to a patient develops a new symptom or a condition, and you are suspecting drug is the culprit. And first of all, what you have to do, you have to check the literature, whether it is documented or not. If it is documented, yes, you can come to a conclusion that this drug is the culprit here, produce the adverse drug reaction, highly suggestive of an ADR. What happens if it is not documented in the literature? Then what you will do, note on it is not documented in the literature, then you stop the drug and you see further whether the ADR is improving. I mean, the symptoms of an adverse drug reaction is improved or not. That is called as positive D challenge. We call it in the pharmacovigilance terminologies. And again, you re-challenge the drug. The drug is restarted to the same patient. If the symptoms recur, same adverse drug reaction recurs, then it is a positive re-challenge, we call it as. Then it becomes a drug alert or a signal. I told you in the beginning, it was not documented in the literature or in the textbooks. You can make it as a signal. So here comes this pattern. So after discontinuing the drug, the ADR has subsided. Again, you have given the same drug, the patient developed the same adverse drug reaction. So this gives a conclusion as this drug is the culprit to produce the adverse drug reaction, which was not documented earlier. That's why it becomes a signal. And there is another way also. If after drug discontinuation also, there is no improvement in the condition of the patient. The symptoms are persisting or even worsening. Then there may be other possible causes for the symptom. So it is not a drug-related ADR. So you need not to report in such instances. If it is confirmed with the drug by D-challenge and re-challenge, then you can report it as an adverse drug reaction. This is how you can detect an adverse drug reaction. So after detection, you have identified an adverse drug reaction. How can you report? What to report? Where can you report? And to whom you can report? Let us see. So whatever the report you have observed, so you can report it to the, report adverse drug reactions, whether it is a known one or unknown one, serious one or non-serious one. Say for example, chemotherapy-induced vomiting is not a serious one, but even though you have to report as it's your moral responsibility as a medical healthcare professional. And these ADRs may be due to medicines or vaccines or herbal products or medical devices. You can report it to this PVPI program. The given mail ID is our mail ID, that Madras Medical College or Pharmacovigilance Center mail ID. You can report it here also. We will acknowledge you, whatever the reports you have sent it to us. Who can report? Doctor, pharmacist, dentist, nurse, patient caretaker, anybody can report adverse drug reactions due to medicines. Not only medicines, vaccines, herbal products, or the medical devices. So what are all the where and how to report? I mean, mode of reporting. There are 3 modes of reporting under this PVPI program. One is the ADR PVPI mobile application available. So you can download this PVPI, ADR PVPI mobile app from the Google Play Store, and you can furnish the details. There you will get 2 options. As a consumer also you can report, or as a healthcare professional also you can report. So it is your choice whether you are a consumer. You yourself have developed any adverse drug reaction, you can select as a consumer. Where you have observed in another patient and you have come across, you can select it as a healthcare professional, you can furnish the details. And ADR reporting form is also available, which we are currently using. Many of the institutions are following this kind of this mode of ADR reporting. And there is another toll-free number, that is 1-800-180-3024, where you can call to this number from Monday to Friday. Some timings were given from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. You can call and give the information about the adverse drug reaction, whatever you have come across. This toll-free number is mainly meant for the patients. As a healthcare professionals, we can use other modes of ADR reporting, especially this ADR reporting form or the mobile app we can use. Or if you don't have any ADR monitoring center in your institution, you can fill up the ADR form and send it to the nearby ADR monitoring centers. Or you can send it to our Madras Medical College also. So as I told you earlier, 895 ADR monitoring centers are available across India. So you can report, you can select any one which is feasible for you to report the adverse drug reactions. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Yeah. I told you this toll-free number is available especially for the patients. Even you also can report, but as a healthcare professional, we need not to go for this option. We can fill up the directly ADR reporting form, and this is a toll-free number 1800-180-3024, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5:30 p.m. We can report it using this one. And this is the ADR PVPI mobile app. You can see here consumer on the left side, the image you can see